Hi everyone, Mr. Renee here. Had several people ask about Unreal Engine for Fortnite Creative, or sometimes also referred to as UEFN. So again, that's Unreal Engine for Fortnite Creative, and so that's what you're looking at now. I've been playing with the UEFN for about 2-3 weeks now. Having a lot of fun. We're going to do a video in this series about how to install it and that type of thing. But this is more of just kind of an overview of the types of things you can build in UEFN. So if you're not familiar, Fortnite Creative is a mode of Fortnite where instead of playing in the game, you can actually build your island or build your levels. And then of course you can share those islands with other people and have your friends and classmates and that type of thing play your island. And there's a lot of cool educational value and kind of interesting experiences the students can build and experience in UEFN. So you know, right now as we're recording this video, it's mid to late April 2023. So my hope is by the next school year in August of 2023, I have a little more time to play with this and design some activities and experiences for students to really dive into UEFN. But I just wanted to show you the island that I've been building, so you just get a general idea of how this works. So if we go into UEFN here, and this is my what's called the viewport, and there's a lot of things here on the screen, and we're not going to go into too much detail today about what all these things are. I'll probably do a tutorial series later on in this playlist or on this channel where I kind of explain what the outliner is and what the details panel is and how to change some of the things. But today what I wanted to do is just give you a brief overview of kind of some of the things you can build in your island. So this island I completely sculpted on my own. It does come with some pre-built islands, but you can go up here to your landscaping tool and you can sculpt using these tools over here. Again, this video is not really about how to use the tools, it's just more of an overview of some of the things you can do. So I could sculpt my entire land here. So for instance, I'll just show you real quick. Let's say I don't really want this hill here. I can click in here and now I just made it a bigger hill, right? And if I wanted to go the other way, I could go kind of like that and do really fun things like that. So I'm gonna undo all that because I don't want to mess my island up too bad. But yes, the sculpting tool, you can have all sorts of fun with it. You can even paint your terrain, so you can paint the surface here. So when we say paint, we don't really mean paint with, like, you know, traditional paint. What we're talking about is the foliage and the grass and you'll see here the sand and those types of things. So lots of stuff you can do in UEFN. But yeah, so I completely designed this terrain myself. And then I added all these buildings, and these buildings are what are called prefabs. So if you've ever played Fortnite before, these probably all look familiar to you, depending on how long you've played. Some of these go back way to the beginning of Fortnite, back in, you know, 3, 4, 5 years ago. So you'll see this is actually that building out there in the ocean that I put there. That's actually from the newest season of Fortnite, or newest chapter. That's one of the Neon City buildings. I just kind of stuck it out in there in the ocean. I'm kind of playing with an idea of building a little kind of mini game in the ocean there. But these other buildings here are things I put in here, and you can go inside of the building, of course, and this is all pre-built for you. So you can go in here and all this stuff is already built, which is really, really nice because the students don't have to worry so much more about, they don't have to focus on the modeling these assets, and that's what we call the objects you're seeing here in the game. As a designer or a developer, they call those assets. So again, the nice thing is, you know, the students don't have to make their own assets in the game here. They can if they want, and that's a whole nother series of videos and kind of beyond the scope of what we're going to get into. But 3D modeling is a whole separate field and a lot of fun. But anyway, most students, you know, they want to get into level design or game design, and so this allows them to do that. So you can see here there's all sorts of buildings. There's these trees and foliage. We'll talk about some of these landmarks you see here on the ground in a minute because that's something slightly different. But you can see this is from Coral Castle, I believe, this tower here. I have a castle up here. I apologize for flying around fast, but that's kind of how it works. Over here is really cool. I have a actually that didn't update. Interesting. Huh. On my newest version of my game, I have a crashed airplane in the side of this mountain, which is kind of interesting, kind of neat effect you can add. So that's interesting. I'm not sure why it's not syncing up, but anyway, that's not really relevant for this video. There's a lighthouse, right? All sorts of things. I'm kind of going with a woodsy outdoor theme, although that doesn't really make sense with this giant building out here in the distance. But you know, that's the cool thing, is you can combine all sorts of stuff. And right now my island is pretty bare. There's not a lot actually on it. You know, for 2-3 weeks, this is actually not a lot, because the other thing I've been doing in this island is writing some code. So the nice thing about UEFN is it has a programming language built in it called Verse. And again, this is probably a little out of the scope of what I'll be doing in our high school classes, or certainly in our middle school classes, but it's just nice to show people that it's there. This code I actually kind of cobbled together mostly directly from the UEFN official documentation. If you just Google UEFN documentation or docs, D-O-C-S, you'll find documentation that'll show you how to do different things. And in this particular piece of code, what this is doing is this is set up. Whoops, let me go back up here, and you can see it's sometimes easy to get lost. So I'm going to show you a trick here. Just got lost, and I'm going to go to here and press G. Or no, F, sorry, on my keyboard, and there we go. That'll bring me back to my island here. So you can see here, I apologize here. This is kind of where the player is going to start. This is called the player spawn right there, where you kind of see that little triangle on the ground. And when they come in here, basically there's going to be a countdown and this is where the code piece comes in. A countdown timer will come up on the screen, and they have 30 seconds to find the coins that are hidden around the island. So of course I've built this level, so I know where I hid them, at least most of them. So there's one there right behind the bushes, right? So you can see there, and when the student or when the player picks it up, it makes a dinging noise, and then the scoreboard will come up and they'll get some points, which is really cool. And then because it's such a big island though, 30 seconds is nowhere going to be enough time. Right now I think I have 5 coins, but I think eventually I want to make like 10 coins, right? So I've also put in, and you can kind of see them down here, I just have one test one, because again, this is very much a level in development. It is nowhere near complete, but you can kind of see it here. This is a little button, and you see that little speaker there. That just means it makes a sound when you push it. But that little button there, when you push it, you get, I believe I have it set up for 20 more seconds. And in the code, I could make it 10 more seconds, 30 more seconds, 100 more seconds. Doesn't really matter. You know, as a game designer, you get to pick that. So I'm going to kind of have this set up as a template, and students will have already the code built in, and then they'll be able to design their island however they want. But they won't have to worry too much about the code, and they can make some, you know, minor adjustments to tweak it a little bit. But that just kind of shows you the power of what you can do with UEFN. In the past, Fortnite has had a creative mode. I think they've had a creative mode for 2 or 3 years now, maybe even more than that. But it's been kind of limited, although students and players and adults, for that matter, all over the world have been building amazing islands. But now with this UEFN, it's going to really open up the power of the Unreal Engine, which is, you know, again, kind of a whole separate topic, but it's basically a professional game engine or interactive 3D engine that's used by Hollywood, TVs and movies, the video game industry, advertising, the automotive industry, architecture firms. It's a professional piece of software, and it looks very similar to this. So the cool thing about this is students are learning at a middle school or even upper elementary school level all the way through high school, a professional tool, but they're doing it in something that they understand, that they know, or at least most of them, and that's Fortnite, right? And if you notice in this game here, I have no guns, right? I have no weapons. It's just you run around the island and you pick up those different pieces. You're not shooting anybody. This is a single player island. Now you can do all that stuff. You can build battle royale maps and, you know, run around and pick up your guns and shoot, but I'm really designing this more is kind of taking that element out of it in a school setting, because I really want students to focus on learning the tool and not get caught up, you know, in running around shooting everybody. They do that when they're playing Fortnite, and that's fine when they're playing their game, but for a game design, you know, I kind of want to keep it, especially with our younger students, kind of keep it a little more appropriate for school. All right, and then the last thing I just wanted to show you is you can actually, the other cool thing about this that's a little different than in the past is you can actually now bring in your own assets. So this down here, if you kind of see, and the graphics aren't great because I kind of got them turned down so I can get some decent video footage, but that, yeah, there you go, you can see it pretty well. That's a fallen statue, right? Now that's not something that's part of Fortnite. That never was in the game. So the cool thing about UEFN is they have this thing called FAB here, and it stands for I'm not even sure what it stands for anymore, but it's basically FAB is their place where you can get assets that other people have made to put into your Unreal, including Unreal for Fortnite projects. So you can see here there's lots and lots of assets. Some of them you have to pay for, right? Because this is how people make money. If you're a 3D modeling artist, one way you make money is you sell your assets online so people can buy them, right? right? Because to make these takes quite a bit of time and talent. But some of them are free here. Like I got this free one in here, and I think if you see in the distance, if I move the fab, yeah, way out here in the distance, I think I have this model here. But I just went in here and I typed in, I think, Roman. Maybe I typed statue or something, and I was able to search, and I found like some Roman columns. I found an old, this Roman head right here. I took one of these, and what I did is I imported it into the game, and now you can see there's kind of the fallen statue. I tilted it over because you can rotate things. So for instance, like this, I can rotate this. When I click on the rotate tool, I can stand it up if I want, or I can put it back down on the ground. I can make it look however I want. And my idea here is like this statue was probably here a long time ago, right? And then if you look up at the top of this hill, there's the headpiece to it, right? And so the idea is, again, in your storytelling, this is such a great way for students to tell stories, right? Maybe on this island something happened, and the wind came, or a tornado or a hurricane came, and it knocked over the statue, and there's the head, it fell. And then if you look down here at the bottom of the hill, right down there, again, there's the statue that fell, right? So again, video games can be so much more than just kind of entertainment and fun. I mean, obviously they're for that, but they're a great tool for students to tell stories. And that's honestly why I love, kind of this tool. It just allows you to be creative and tell these little mini stories. My story right now is somebody's running through this island picking up some coins, and it's kind of silly, and maybe I'll come up with a bigger story, but you don't have to, right? You can just kind of come up with the basics and build your story around it. But everything you see here, at least from the terrain, is stuff that I sculpted. So I sculpted out this little lake, and I put those waterfalls in there, and I put the rocks down, and again then I just inserted all these buildings. And again, I didn't build the buildings. I don't have the talent or the time, quite frankly, to build 3D models like you see in this. These were done by professional artists that work for Epic Games or whoever they contract with to make their assets. But like this cabin you see here, right? It's just gorgeous. And again, you can go inside of it, and there's all sorts of cool stuff in there. And so students can really get to play around and have a lot of fun with their projects. So again, this was just a basic overview. There's a lot more to Unreal Engine. I didn't really show you how I put these things in here. There's this thing called the content drawer down here where all your assets are stored and that type of thing. And I'll make videos on that later, but I just really wanted to give you a general overview. I've had several teachers and other people ask me, well, what can you actually do in UEFN? And yes, you can build levels for Fortnite, and that's really what it's for, but it's really much broader than that. You can tell whole stories kind of using a lot of these assets that Unreal or Epic Games provides for you, but also assets that you can bring in yourself. And you don't even have to use the fab store here. You can get assets anywhere you want online and bring them into your project. Sometimes it gets a little technical and more difficult to do that, but in theory you can do that. So I hope this video was helpful. I'm going to make many more of these on our channel here. Right now these are housed on our Noble Academy Esports YouTube channel, just because we have an esports team here at Noble Academy, but we also have lots of students that are interested in maybe video game design, maybe not necessarily playing games as an esport activity, but just interested in kind of digital storytelling, animation, art, those types of things. And Unreal Engine and Unreal Engine for Fortnite Creative is a great way to kind of introduce them to that if they haven't done that before. So again, stay tuned to this channel for more videos, and I appreciate you checking this one out, and we'll see you on the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.